Coming up on the Inside Indiana Business Television podcast, IU President Michael McRobbie grants us an exit interview. Corteva continues its mission to help feed the world. A Franklin company turns gardens into big business. Terre Haute Regional Airport has big plans. An Ohio company brings nuclear medicine to Indiana. Marian University introduces its new School of Engineering. The Pacers make a play for social justice. And we preview this year's Indiana Conference for Women. Welcome to the Inside Indiana Business Television podcast. I'm Andy Ober. After 14 years in Indiana University's top job and 24 in senior leadership positions, IU President Michael McRobbie will step down at the end of the month. He joined Inside Indiana Business host Gary Dick to look back on his accomplishments and to talk about what's next for him and the university.
So much we can talk about. I guess maybe we go to what has transpired here in the last year. Obviously, the pandemic has made an unbelievable impact on every walk of life, every business, every academic enterprise. Characterize, if you will, this last year, a year plus, and what it's been like as a university president.
Well, it's probably been the most difficult period of time in the university's 200-year history, dealing with the pandemic and all its consequences for the university. But very early on, we mobilized the full resources of our health sciences school, our School of Medicine, our public health schools, School of Nursing, the other schools and what have you, and used them to craft the strategy that we would use to keep the whole university community, faculty, staff, and students safe during that period, to stay open and to keep functioning as a university, and to do all that safely. And we managed that. I think we managed it in an exemplary way. The university was safer than the rest of the state in terms of the prevalence and positivity rates in the university. And we did it all by utilizing our scientific resources and following the science and the medical advice the whole time. And that, I think, was critical to getting us through this crisis. Yeah,
and you most recently, you announced the school's first chief health officer, Aaron Carroll. So looking forward, there'll be someone in a position to really deal with future situations.
Yeah, I think what the pandemic really brought home is that across all our multiple campuses and other units around the state, there are issues in public health that are common to all of them. And we didn't really have a single person responsible for the coordination and the development of proactive responses to those kinds of problems anywhere in the university. So the appointment, Aaron was one of the leaders of our response to the pandemic. He headed our whole massive testing operation that kept the university community safe. And so Aaron is a distinguished professor, a renowned researcher in the medical sciences. So he is going to head up all of our public health responses across the whole of the university.
Yeah, so many things we can talk about, Michael, of your 14 years as president. Among them, in terms of being, quote unquote, transformational, 10 new schools established essentially in the last 10 years. So the academic endeavor at IU truly has been transformed during your tenure.
Yeah, I think it was the case that we had not really updated the academic structure of the university and the programs that we offered students. We were falling behind in offering students what they wanted and what we were capable of achieving. So that was what led to this massive academic transformation, the largest ever in the university's history. As you said, 10 new schools across the university, nearly 600 new degree programs and other programs over that period of time. So now I think we are wonderfully positioned to provide exactly the kinds of degrees and other programs that students want in this day and age, that are responding to all of the opportunities that they have, as opposed to being locked in the past, focused on opportunities that no longer exist.
You're right. You led one of the largest capital campaigns of any public universities in the country, $3.9 billion campaign. Technology was also a big focus of yours, and enhancing, upgrading in technology, across the university system.
Well, Miles Brand had the vision when he appointed me back in 1996 to build the university's information technology infrastructure across the whole of the university to be able to compete with the best in the world. He wanted us, as he put it at the time, to be the best in absolute terms in the uses and applications of information technology. And I got the job of doing that, and we were able to, together with hundreds of very able people, to achieve that. And we did that in the knowledge that information technology is now, I think everybody acknowledges, is absolutely fundamental to the academic enterprise, both education and research. There's no area of educational research that isn't affected, from anthropology to zoology, that isn't affected by information technology, and that was the job we had.
Hey, Michael, unfortunately we're out of time, but what's next for you and your wife, Laura? Are you going to stay in Bloomington?
Well, we're going to take a bit of a break for a period, but the trustees have very kindly appointed me as the university chancellor, the position that Herman Wells held, and I look forward very much to being in that position for the future.
Very good. Well, it's been a pleasure covering your exploits at IU, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Great to see you as always, Gary.
All right.
Corteva Agriscience, which has a huge innovation hub in Indianapolis, is marking its second year as a standalone company. Corteva spun off from Dow DuPont in 2019. Executive Vice President Rajan Gajaria came on the show to update the company's mission to help farmers feed people all over the world.
Okay, Corteva, for those who don't know, still a relatively new 2-year-old standalone company, but a spin-out of Dow DuPont with roots obviously back to Dow Agriscience's massive facility on the northwest side of Indianapolis. Give us a thumbnail of this major business center for Corteva in Indianapolis.
Gary, this is, like you said, our hub of innovation. A lot of our crop protection business, which is half our business globally, we are about a $15 billion business globally. All of that innovation really stems right here in Indianapolis. So we bring global talent to Indianapolis, but we also take the products that are made right in our backyard to farmers all around the world. Corteva works with around 10 million farmers around the world, and a lot of the innovation that we do right here in Indiana is what serves them.
Yeah, a lot of talk about feeding the world, and certainly the mission at Corteva, and a lot of the innovation, the science going on right here in Indianapolis, and more broadly at locations in Indiana. That really gets to the heart of that feeding the world equation.
Absolutely. I think the challenges are real. We have an important but a small role to play, and proud to say that Corteva is doing that. So we are at a point here where there is a strong convergence of technology, whether it is biotech, whether it is crop protection, big data. Technology comes together, and Corteva has an important role to play as it comes to growing this, feeding the growing population that we see around the world.
Yeah, major presence here means major employment. 1,500 or so people working at Corteva here in Indianapolis. Overall, about 2,000 in the state of Indiana. How are you finding the ability to get talent? Because that obviously drives what you do.
Actually, I think as we see across industries, purpose is a real strong attractor for people to come to talent. We really feel good about the fact that we are talking about ensuring progress for generations to come. We are talking about feeding the world. We are talking about partnering with farmers. And we really think that message resonates with people around the world. And I'm happy to say that Corteva can attract a lot of talent from across Indiana, from across the US, and across the globe, right here to Indianapolis. So we have been very fortunate that we attract talent right from PhD scientists to people who want to work in different functions, from commercial to supply chain, all in here. So we've been very fortunate that way.
Yep. Only have about 30 seconds left, but Corteva, headquartered in Delaware, Indianapolis, and Iowa are the two massive business centers for the company. As you look going forward, what's next for Corteva here in Indiana? How does the future look for Corteva Agriscience in Indiana?
The future for agriculture across the globe looks strong, which means that the future for Corteva is strong, and Indiana and Indianapolis being such a big part of Corteva, cautious optimism. I think the future looks very positive. We love to collaborate with not only different places like Purdue and other folks right here in Indiana, but Indiana is a very important business center for us, not only from an employment perspective, but even for our farmer customers. 1 out of every 3 bags of corn sold in the state of Indiana come from Corteva. 1 of every 3 bags of soybeans sold in Indiana come from Corteva. So yeah, it's an important place for us, for employment, for talent, but also for the customer base. We are Hoosiers, and we are here to stay, Gary.
That's great. Some great figures there, to be sure. Rajan Gajaria, Corteva Agriscience. It's always great to have you on the show. Congratulations on the milestone. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you so very much as always, Gary, and take care.
Okay.
Some of Indiana's best gardeners, with family roots dating back generations, can be found in Johnson County, where they've turned their gardens into big business. Around Indiana, reporter Mary Rachel Redmond shows us what's blooming at Dolly's Farm in Franklin.
They make a real fun accent with the bouquet.
According to numbers from Indiana Grown, it appears Hoosiers are planting more flowers. But for those that don't exactly have a green thumb, you pick flower farms have become all the rage. Thanks in large part to influencers who, for all intents and purposes, aren't planting, but picking for that perfect Instagram photo op.
This is a burgundy yarrow.
And although I may not be an influencer, I was curious to see what all the hype was about. So I stopped at one of the many You Pick Flowers spots to crop up in Indiana, Dolly's Farm in Franklin.
We have 87 different varieties of cut flowers. So we have half an acre of sunflowers, 20 different varieties, and everything from white to cream to striped to black to cherry ones. Into June, they'll start blooming all the way through the season.
Operating since 2018, Dolly's features 10 sections of 120-foot long by 6-foot wide rows of endless blossoms ripe for the picking, but not so fast. As owner Trisha Wilson shows me, there's an art to creating a customized bouquet.
A bucket and snips.
Okay, perfect.
Alrighty. And I'm going to take a pair of snips so I can show you what we're doing. When you cut a fresh flower, you find one you like. Notice this one is totally different, even though it's the same plant. Do you see? They're both different. You just follow a stem down, and you're just going to snip it.
This bucket has water in it too, so you can kind of see.
We always put fresh water and flower food in that so that they get over the shock of being cut.
And while the smell of fresh flowers is about as good as it gets, at Dolly's, they take a bit of a different approach.
You can see the mint over here. So you climb in, and it gives you the greenery you like.
So good.
Most of the garden cut flowers don't have a scent to them. So we grow our mint. And that's going to completely change your bouquet in the way it looks and the way it smells.
What you're really known for is lavender.
But if you love lavender, rub it. Rub it. Rub it. You won't hurt the plant.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, now smell your hands, sweetie.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah, that's, yeah.
Oh my God.
I tell the kids all the time.
You pay good money for that smell. Is lavender the most popular with folks that come to visit?
We have thousands of people who come to pick their own lavender. You're going to set your flowers here, and we're going to put those together in an arrangement for you that you love.
I'm afraid I'm going to break them.
No, oh,
okay.
you won't. No.
I'm learning.
I know.
Beautiful.
And another one.
I feel like I look like a pro. Instagram pick-worthy? I'd say so. But beyond the amazing backdrops and photo ops at Dolly's, just the simplicity of the farm itself is what makes it a popular destination for families.
Serenity is the word I hear a lot. We have families who come over and over and over again. There's no fee to get on the farm. So they can come here and spend some time for free and do fun things together.
Mary Rachel Redmond, Inside Indiana Business.
Terre Haute Regional Airport has a flight plan that could pay off big time for economic development in Vigo County. Rachel Leslie and Rick Berger from the airport's board of directors joined us to talk about what's in the works.
Rachel, I'll start with you. A lot going on in Terre Haute, in particular on the east side with the Hard Rock Casino that will be opening, bringing a lot of people into the region. There's been residential and commercial development, in particular on the east side of Terre Haute, where Terre Haute Regional Airport is. So I think the idea is to try to leverage that to create future economic development. Explain this strategic plan, what it's all about.
Thank you, Gary. We appreciate that. Yes, the airport board decided a year ago to bring together not just those associated with the airport, but also the commercial, residential people here on the east side of Terre Haute. Specifically, I want to mention Rose Hallman's perspective on this as well. So we brought everyone together and said, hey, how are we going to take advantage of potentially 1 million new visitors to our community every year, whether it be wayfinding, beautification, or how we really turn in this airport into a true aerotech park.
Yeah, Rick, talk about the potential here, because you look at the asset that the airport presents there. You've got an Air National Guard base that's there, the 181st Intelligence Wing, which is a very important asset there at the airport. What's the potential for future development if you can leverage all these things together?
Yeah, the potential we see here is just overwhelming. The things that we could bring in here, an aerospace or anything like that, anything to complement the Wabash Valley. Because when we're talking about this, we're just not talking Terre Haute. We're talking the Wabash Valley for opportunities and potential growth there.
Yeah. What about buy-in, Rachel? Because as Rick mentioned, this is a regional initiative, really, in many ways, all the way down to maybe Knox County, Putnam County, and so on, Vermilion County, my home county, if you will. How's the community buy-in, at least so far?
Sure. Well, I appreciate that question because I would tell you that's probably the best part of this process. Not just from a facilitation standpoint, but people calling. They want to have their voices heard. They have ideas and perspectives that they haven't had an opportunity to partake in the past. And Gary, I just have to say, I know everyone's talking regionalism and it's the hot thing and people are excited about it. But let me tell you, we truly have a region right now on fire, ready to take advantage of these types of opportunities. So shout out to those mayors, county commissioners, and others that have been part of this that are not in Vigo County, but understand the value.
Yeah, Rachel, I know a lot of that regionalism started with the Regional Cities Initiative. Now with that next iteration, if you will, the READY program, $500 million program from state government. Do you envision perhaps leveraging some dollars there and putting some projects together as part of this to go after some of that state money?
We do, Gary. I think that you're going to see that our READY application will be inclusive of a lot of different things, not just on 46, but in the region and these other counties and some of the things that they're doing to take advantage of all that is happening here in Vigo County. And equally, the things that Vigo County has taken advantage of in their particular areas. We are really a hot spot for tourism, and we're going to start telling that story in a whole new way. Rick,
I'll give you the final word. This is a process, obviously. What do you see as next steps?
Next steps, we just completed our last community meeting we got input from the community yesterday, so we're excited to take their input because this is definitely a community plan that we're going to put in place. We got to start showing some action out here with the strategic plan, and I think in the next couple months you're going to see some great things happening on this side of the city.
Very good. Rachel Leslie and Rick Berger, Terre Haute Regional Airport Board of Directors. A lot going on in Terre Haute and Vigo County and around the airport as well. Thanks for joining us from the airport. We'll look forward to following the story.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
All right.
Remember, you can catch Inside Indiana Business Television on stations throughout the state every weekend. Head to InsideIndianaBusiness.com to check listings. Ohio-based Cardinal Health is making significant strides in pushing the use of nuclear medicine in central Indiana. So what is nuclear medicine, and why is Indiana a good market? Cardinal Health President Tiffany Olson spoke with Kylie Valletta in the Business of Health.
We'll talk about your expansion in just a minute, but first let's talk about nuclear medicine. Can you explain what it is in layman's terms?
Yes, absolutely. But first, let me just say, thanks for having me on the show because we've been in Indianapolis for many years and our industry is now at this inflection point. And we've chosen Indianapolis to be the center for our expansion. So I'm really excited to talk about it. Now, nuclear medicine is used for both diagnostics and therapeutics, and it uses what's called a radiopharmaceutical. So this is a drug with a small amount of radioactivity. And then based on the drug's chemical structure, it gets carried to different places within the body. And it may also include a nuclear image. So imagine if your body was made of glass and the physician could just look inside and see what was going on. So that's really the beauty of nuclear imaging. So unlike X-rays, which will show the bone structure, imaging will show the function and blood flow. So also with radiopharmaceutical drugs that are very different than any others is that it decays, and it decays at the rate of its half-life until it's all gone. So some are gone in a couple of hours and some take a couple of days.
Okay, lots of fascinating stuff to unpack there. Give us a brief look of what Cardinal Health has here in Indiana already, and then tell us about your expansion to create this new Center for Theranostics Advancement here in Indy.
Absolutely. So we received a multi-million-dollar investment to expand our capabilities with pharma innovators. And we developed the Center for Theranostics Advancement. This is where we help pharma innovators develop their product, scale it, manufacture it, commercialize it, and distribute it directly to patients. And we help them bring these new drugs to market in 3 new physical locations located on the northwest side of Indianapolis. So the first is in our Innovation Center. And this is where we start to follow the drug through its different clinical trial phases. And at the Innovation Center, we work on phases 0 through 2, and also with getting the drug into clinical trials. And then the next building that we have, which we call our pre-commercial building, and we can also do small-scale manufacturing, is when that product is in phase 3. And then our newest building is our large-scale manufacturing, very large building, over 60,000 square feet. And those are for products that are FDA approved. Now, also up on that same side of town, we have a very large manufacturing facility that we've had for several years, where we manufacture a product for Bayer Pharmaceuticals called Xofigo. We also have 2 nuclear pharmacies where we prepare, dispense, deliver patient-specific doses. So it has the patient name on it and exactly the right product for them. So overall, we have a little over 200,000 square feet with room to expand in the area.
So speaking of expanding, you touched on this a little bit earlier, that you feel like nuclear medicine, the industry, is just really at a tipping point. Kind of explain what you see from your vantage point right now in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Because as you had stated earlier, we are projected to significantly grow in the coming years. So historically, nuclear medicine has been primarily used as a diagnostic tool, really mostly in cardiology and in oncology. But recently, we've had this fundamental change happen in our industry, and we're offering theranostics. So let me take a moment and explain. So a theranostic, it's both a diagnostic, which is tell me what's wrong. It's a therapeutic, fix what's wrong. We individualize them down to the cellular level. And so patients get exactly what they need. And anticipation then of this growing new area is why we built the Center for Theranostic Advancement. So it's going to be innovations like these that truly are life-changing for patients in the future.
Okay, Tiffany, just about 20 seconds left, but can you tell us why you chose Indianapolis specifically for this new center?
Absolutely. First, centrally located. Because our products decay, we've got to get them into the patient quickly. So between our international airport, the FedEx hub, and all of the ground transportation, we are absolutely in the right place. All of the infrastructure with advanced manufacturing for our ability to hire folks. We worked with BioCrossroads, always been great at connecting us with academic and researchers. The IEDC provided us with many wonderful reasons to come. And last but not least, Hoosier hospitality.
That secret sauce you said earlier. Tiffany,
absolutely.
Thanks for being on the show today. Good luck with the new expansion, and keep us posted.
Thank you very much.
Marian University is looking to educate the next generation of engineers with the creation of the E.S. Whitger School of Engineering. Nationally recognized researcher Bin Tran will serve as dean. Dr. Tran and Marian President Dan Elsener joined us in our Eye on Education segment.
Dan, I'm going to start with you. You have launched and initiated so many new things at Marian. It's really transformed the school in so many ways. New medical school, teachers college, a number of other initiatives. Why this focus on engineering?
Well, first of all, our board has a few strategic priorities. This is the top one. It's all in our big STEM initiative. If you understand the ecosystem in Indiana, we're a manufacturing state, biomedical engineering state. We have a great medical school. We're here in central Indiana. We see the need for diversity in the engineering field, and we're foursquare in it. And we found an outstanding national leader to lead the effort, a tremendous lead gift by the Whitger family. We're off and running, Gary, and it's going to stimulate a lot of growth here in central Indiana and beyond.
Yeah. Dr. Ben Tran, you come to Marian from the Catholic University of America in Washington, D.C. Give us a thumbnail of your background and really what interested you and what really made you approach and pursue this opportunity at Marian.
So I graduated with a mechanical engineering degree from the left coast, University of California, San Diego. And right when I graduated, I got involved in internships as a process engineer, a manufacturing engineer, test engineer, and then eventually an R&D engineer. And then, because of my interest in medical ventilators and cardiopulmonary biomechanics, I went and did my graduate studies at the University of Iowa. And eventually I made it all the way out to Washington, D.C. at the Catholic University. And we did a lot of research there in health information technologies. And so it was a very exciting research opportunity. But this new opportunity that's being started at Marian University really excites me. Being a founding dean of a new school of engineering starting from scratch and being an entrepreneurial effort really is something that it's going to be a challenge, but it's something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, talk about, Dr. Tran, your goals, your vision, some of the programs you really want to put in place and execute there at Marian.
Sure. One of the goals that we have, the vision that we have is that we're going to start an engineering program that is founded upon the Franciscan Catholic conscience, and we're going to build programs that serve the nation and serve the world and societal needs. And that comes from everything from biomedical engineering in the health field, all the way to chemical engineering and developing new vaccines and medicines, to computer engineering and dealing with issues like cybersecurity and some of these other things that are going on as well. And so civil engineering, the world is looking at a lot of needs for infrastructure, and so we're going to try and address some of those issues.
Dan, you've made the point in the past that your graduates stay and work in Indiana, Indianapolis, and throughout the state of Indiana. As you look at this new engineering school and the graduates that will be coming out of there, these are going to feed the pipeline, right? That engineering and that technical pipeline that really needs people in it.
I have two visuals. One, the pipeline's going to get bigger. We're going to have more engineers, and we're going to eliminate some leaks. There's a lot of engineers trained in the state of Indiana. Many of them leave here. We're going to very intentionally, and we've had a lot of great response from partner companies and donors. So, boy, I visited with an engineering firm just a couple of weeks ago, said we'd hire 25-year graduates tomorrow. I said, well, it's not going to happen that fast. But if you're part of the pipeline, we'll put some in there. So we have a very clear strategy to recruit, develop engineers, starting with our work in K-12 schools, especially from diverse populations, get them here in Indiana and in Marian University, tie them to internships and companies, develop relationships, and you'll see investment from other parts of the country and the world come to Indiana. You'll see better paying jobs, and you'll see some great advancements in all areas of life. So we're very excited about it, Gary, and we're so blessed to be in a community that supports us the way they do. We've had record fundraising beyond even our imagination, and we have pretty big imagination here.
That's right.
And it's just been awesome. So we're ready to go and excited to get the word out.
Another major initiative at Marian University, a new college of engineering, a school of engineering at Marian, President Dan Elsner, and also the founding dean of the Whitaker School, Dr. Ben Tran. Thank you both for being here, and we look forward to following your exploits.
We'll keep you informed, Gary. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
It's been a year since Pacer Sports and Entertainment launched its social justice initiative. The organization calls it Intentional Generosity in Intentional Geography. President Rick Fusen talked about the movement with Bill Benner on Inside Indiana Sports.
A wide-ranging array of initiatives that the Pacers, you've always been involved in community with the Simon ownership, but it took on special emphasis in the wake of last year's unfortunate activities. Talk about some of the things that have been accomplished so far.
Well, obviously we are in the sports business, and we have a platform. There's no question about it. We think it's important for us to be a part to make the community better. I think from my perspective, at 68 years old, I think this is another opportunity, maybe the second or third opportunity that I personally have had to really help make a difference. And as the leader on a day-to-day basis of the business side of this company, I think we all want to join in and see how we can help. Over the last year, it changed our lives, I think, again. Certainly through after the murder of George Floyd and the ensuing situations that we've had all around this country. But we have to support our own individual communities to make sure that we don't forget. I think Malcolm Brogdon made a terrific statement earlier that we have to sustain the outrage about systemic racism, about injustice, et cetera. And so Pacer Sports Entertainment is committed to doing what we can in our city over the entire year's basis and from here on as well.
Thus far, about more than 200 organizations have been reached out to, about more than 100,000 lives. The majority of the dollars now focused on equity, inclusion, and social justice. And so, again, intentional generosity, intentional geography.
That's right, Bill. You know, the Simons have been the Simon family's been very generous over the years, as the Ursays have, and so many others. But we set a social justice agenda that we would be narrowing our focus. We've given to a lot of groups over the years, but we really set on 5 different areas: education gaps, mentorship gaps, food deserts, our relationship between the community and the police and others in government, and support for minority businesses. We think it's so important that we have to put really our money where our mouth is, and that's really where we're talking today about helping these organizations as we go forward. We can't do it alone, however, and we've got to have great partnerships, and we look forward to creating even more partnerships as we go forward.
Yeah, some of those partnerships include the Centers for Leadership Development, the Kennedy King, the CICF, Anthem, and others. And again, you are definitely reaching out and hooking up arm in arm with local entities.
Yeah, you know, the fever and our folks there started to deal with Anthem and the Mays Institute at IU's Lilly Family School of Philanthropy. And we're working with the players to become, it's called Athletes to Advocacy, to help those young women and others to help them make sure that they're helping the community as well. The Center for Leadership Development, great group in our town. They have been supported by the new NBA Foundation that each of the owners has pledged $1 million for each of 10 years, so $30 million apiece, $300 million, throughout the time that we will be giving to different causes across the country. Kennedy King, what can we say about, that day so many years ago when Robert Kennedy gave a speech here and really probably saved our community, from devastation the day that Martin Luther King was killed. And we're going to continue to do that because what was taught to Indianapolis that night, what we heard from Bobby Kennedy was very important for all of us going forward. And it's a legacy that we can be proud of. CICF is doing great work in terms of their philanthropy, the racial equity pledge that many companies through this town have talked about. We want to keep it sustained, and we want to make sure that we can help be a leader in that. We don't have to be the leader. We want to be partners with people and walk down the street together.
Well, Rick Fuson, the president and CEO of Pacer Sports Entertainment, is sure having a great night. These are exciting initiatives, but they're also very necessary initiatives, and we applaud Pacer Sports Entertainment for taking the lead. Rick, thanks for being on the program. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it.
And finally this week, a couple of Hollywood actresses and an iconic fashion designer will headline this year's Indiana Conference for Women. Co-founder Billy Dragoo Garcia and Executive Director Chelsea Anderson joined us with a preview.
Bill, I want to start with you. This is the 10th anniversary celebration, if you will, for the Indiana Conference for Women. And I can remember being at that first conference. And from that first conference on, it has been a hit and has grown every year. Talk about, as you think back on it, the idea for the conference, what it's all about, and why, in your view, it has continued to achieve such success.
Well, in the beginning, Deborah Collins-Stevens and I wanted to build a strategic focus, leadership, and economic division for women in our state and actually our city and our state. But it's mushroomed into much more than that now. We attract multiple across the lines of industries of women, CEOs, C-suite. Now it's into the students across our state. And then we attract a lot of people from out of state. So this conference has become an ecosystem of strategic thinking and leadership. And now we've mushroomed into these scholarships that we're anxious to talk to you about. And I'll let Chelsea talk to you a little bit about that later. But amazing 501c3 board that we developed, and we have great people on that board. Amazing case studies for this conference. It's, 40% millennials, C-suite, across multiple levels of the industries in our city. Yep. And also 20% women business owners. So there's something for everyone. But it's, like you said, it's grown exponentially. I would say 20 to 30% every year.
Yep, very good. Chelsea, let's talk about this year because you have a big lineup. November 3 is the date. Some really high-profile keynotes and a lot of activity. Give us a thumbnail description of this year's event.
I'd love to. Yes, I'm really excited about our keynotes this year. We'll start things off with Taraji P. Henson, whom folks might know from her wonderful roles in Hidden Figures, Empire. She's also launched a new campaign to talk about mental health in young people, which we know is so important all the time, and especially in this last year and a half or so. Following that, we will see Jamila Jamil. Folks might know her from The Good Place. She played Tahani. She also has a wonderful podcast, and she's a host in a number of different areas, and we just love having Jamila here. She'll have a great conversation with folks. And closing out our keynotes, we have Betsy Johnson, who, of course, is an iconic fashion designer from the 80s and 90s, who just launched, I believe she has some purses and new accessories she just launched for us. So we're really looking forward to having these great speakers with us this year.
Yeah, major event November 3. I know you've got some summer events planned leading up to that as well. Billy, we're running out of time, but so many stories coming out of this conference, right, over the years, the impact that the conference has had on individual women.
We've had some attorneys now doing business with folks in New York, like with Ariana Huffington, and some, I think it was Martha Stewart. We've had some folks when she was in town. Remember, she visited Long's Bakery and went to the industries here that fit into the industry. And so there's some other folks working. One of the students at Heron, Amber Ray, one of the authors that spoke at our breakout session, she's now a mentee of Amber Ray, a book called Choose Wonder Over Worry. So these girls in high school, it's changing their lives too. So there's something for everyone. The studies that are coming out of this and the case studies that we're going to be presenting down the road will also build a legacy for this conference.
Right.
And the folks in our state that they'll be able to reflect back on and see what this conference has done for our state.
Yep, and it's had a big impact, to be sure. November 3, the Indiana Conference for Women. Billy Dragoo Garcia, the co-founder of the event. Also Chelsea Anderson, the executive director of the conference. Thanks for joining us. I know we'll talk about this between now and then as well. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right.
That wraps up this week's Inside Indiana Business television podcast. Remember, you can find all of this week's TV segments, as well as the top business news from throughout the state, at InsideIndianaBusiness.com. While you're there, you can also subscribe to our platform of free e-newsletters. This is Andy Ober for Inside Indiana Business.